If you have tight hip flexors, then you're not alone. So many people deal with tight hip flexors, but they never actually get a solution. In this video, we're gonna talk about what the real solution is, because it takes a few different steps. So let's get right into how we fix it. The first thing that we have to do, number one, is making sure that we're loosening up the biggest hip flexor in the body, which is our psoas major. This is the psoas major right here. This is the front of our spine. The guts are cut away. So looking at the front of the spine, this right here is the psoas major. It comes all the way down. So what we're looking to do is get into the spot right here where the psoas and the iliacus link up. We're gonna take any type of stick. You can use a broomstick, whatever you got at home, but we're gonna loosen this up and we're gonna do it for about a minute. So I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that in the next step. Step number one, we're gonna lay down. We're gonna get into this hip flexor right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay down to the side. If you're having back pain, especially knee pain, this is gonna help with back pain, knee pain, any type of issues with the hip, it's really important. But if you're having back pain, then we always wanna lay down to the side, or we're getting down and we roll back. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find that top of the pelvis and I'm gonna push right here and I'll push down and out into those muscles, and I'm gonna feel it's gonna be tender. If you lift your knee up on that side, then it's gonna feel really tender. It almost feels like it's cramping right there, and that's okay. We know we're on the right muscle. I'm not gonna move it around. I'm just gonna hold steady pressure and do a little bit of a glide. And I'm doing that for about a minute. This is step number one. We wanna actually get into the muscle, loosen it up, put pressure on it, and we're digging it out. Nobody ever works on this muscle. Nobody ever cares about this muscle because it's very difficult for us as PTs, massage therapists. It's really hard on our hands to get into it. So you can work on it yourself. You don't have to depend on other people. Let's make sure that we're getting a movement in this, because it's the biggest hip flexor in the body. We need to be able to loosen it up. If you're having back pain, it's extremely important because it pulls directly on the back. But if we're having knee pain, we're having hip pain, then it's a big factor as well. But back pain, it's definitely gonna be a big linchpin in making sure that we're getting rid of that. That was it. I'm doing 1 minute on the right side, and then I'm gonna do 1 minute on the left side. Let's get to step number two. Step number two, we need to get into the other hip flexor. So we have a hip flexor right here on our thigh. It's called our TFL. We have a hip flexor right here. It's called our Rectus femoris right here. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna actually loosen this up, and we can do it in standing or you can do it in sitting. So I loosen this up right here in standing, digging through it, and loosen it up in standing right here. I always think about just doing 10 swipes. So 10 swipes here, 10 swipes here. And I have most of my weight on the left leg because if I put pressure on my right leg, a lot of us are very quad dominant. When we tighten up that muscle, we're not getting nearly as deep. So we wanna make sure that we're getting our weight on the opposite side and loosening that up. And wherever you feel like it's really tender, where it's really tight, work on that area a little bit more. Think about doing each one of these spots for a minute. So you got a minute on that psoas right here. You got a minute on the TFL. Loosen that up. It is very important. We've seen it here in the clinic with our clients. We get a lot of opening up. It's just outside of the straight line of the leg. It's just right here. And we're loosening that up. Do it for about a minute. And we got a minute on this. I like to do it in sitting. So where I'm just loosening that up and I go all the way around it. That's kind of scanning for tightness. And then where I get to is that I end up right here. That spot for me is really tight. Yours might be about here. And it's like making sure that you're getting those spots that are really tight. And we do it for about a minute, just loosening that up, putting pressure on it. Making sure that we don't have our shoulders up in our ears. We don't want to create a shoulder problem when we're working on a hip flexor problem because it's associated with our low back, with our hip, with our knee pain. We want to make sure that we're getting into it, but keeping our shoulders down so that we keep pressure without doing this and causing a shoulder and neck problem. So I do this for about a minute, just getting into it, and I do a little bit extra right here on that midpoint right there in the quad. But this is getting our rectus femoris, which is a hip flexor, but it's also a knee extender. So we're making sure we're getting it because it acts on the hip. Let's get to number three. Number three is that we got to start using the muscles on the opposite side. We have something in the body, it's called reciprocal inhibition. If I flex my bicep as hard as I can, then my tricep has to be loose. So what I want to do is start using my glutes. That's our biggest hip extender. Start using our hamstrings. That's another hip extender. It's just not as significant as the glute. So if I use my hip extenders, then I'm gonna be inhibiting and decreasing the activation of my hip flexors. So when we're doing this, we always have a three-pronged approach. We loosen it up, we use the opposite side, and then we'll stretch it, right? So we're always gonna do that. Let's make sure we use the same side in some of our stretches, but we also wanna do making sure, we'll do that in the stretch portion, and that may, hopefully that didn't get confusing. Using the opposite side is step number 2, and then using the same side while we do a stretch is step number 3. So let's get into that. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna get onto the table or onto the ground, and we're gonna do a bird dog. And so I'm gonna separate my knees at a good distance and separate my hands. So my hands are underneath my shoulders, my knees are underneath my hips. And then I'm pushing back. I'm just gonna tap my foot on the ground. I'm gonna hold that for about 5 seconds, and then I'm gonna switch. I'm thinking about my belly button being a laser pointer. I want to keep it right in the middle. When I shift over to the other side, and it got much harder, but I tap my foot and I squeeze, and then I switch sides. I tap my foot and I squeeze. You don't have to lift up your arm. We can have both arms down. Do what feels more comfortable for you, because what we're really looking for is that I'm squeezing this back glute. If I squeeze it, you can see that this is hard. I'm squeezing back here, but my foot is planted. And I'm gonna do 5 reps of 5 seconds holding that. The harder version is where I come down and I push down and I lift that opposite hand up, which makes me activate my glute, which is making me, it's hard to breathe right now. That's why I'm losing my voice, right? But if you wanna make it more challenging, we do it this way. What I really want is you to get the best activation that you can out of that glute. So keeping your hands down, there's nothing bad about it. Let's make sure that we kick that leg back, squeeze the back glute as hard as we can for about 5 seconds. And we switch sides, stay in the middle. I'm moving that foot. I'm holding it for 5 seconds. And then I'm switching and doing that. I'm gonna do 5 times on each side, really activating that back glute. And so I'm getting that glute and the hamstring fired up. That's gonna help us. We dug out the hip flexor, and then we're activating the glute and the hamstring. So we're getting the opposite side of the muscles fired up. And then now we're gonna do a stretch. So let's get to the step number 4. Step number 4 is we're gonna do the world's greatest stretch. And so we have a modified version, and then we have the full version. So I'm gonna do the modified version first. So on the modified version, I'm gonna shift this table over to here, and then I'm gonna do this right here. And I'm gonna lean into a table or a countertop, whatever is most convenient. And so I'm driving down. This knee never goes in front of the toe, and I'm squeezing my back glute right here. And I wanna make sure that my abdomen, my chest, they stay in a neutral position. I don't wanna do this. You're gonna feel a much bigger stretch right here, but it's gonna cause compression and irritation on your lower back. And I don't wanna sacrifice our lower back when we're fixing a hip flexor problem. These things are meant to do consistently, especially on a daily basis for 2 weeks. You do it for 2 weeks and you're gonna be able to see a lot of results. So I'm gonna do the opposite side. So I'm leaned up against the countertop. I'm squeezing my back glute right here. My knee stays behind my toe. And then I'm shifting forward. So I can shift forward just a little bit right here. So my knee goes to my toes, but not in front of them. And if I get that fired up, I'm lengthening that hip flexor, right? And then we'll get into step number 5 where we actually do a stretch, but right now it's about squeezing that back glute, getting a little bit of a stretch and not overdoing it right now. We wanna make sure that we're getting that length, firing up the correct muscles, and that it's more active. Doing it to the active component, I'm gonna come right here. And so if you're more mobile, then I'm gonna come into this position and I'm gonna squeeze that back glute right here. This is where I feel it a lot more because I'm not at a 45-degree angle. I'm almost at a 90-degree angle. I'd say I'm at like 75, 80 degrees right here. I squeeze that back glute. I allow my hips and my pelvis to drop down just a little bit right here. And I squeeze that back glute as much as I can on the right side. Now I'm gonna switch sides and do the same thing. Get that leg up, squeezing that back glute. Remember, this is good for our glute. It's good for our hip, our knees, and our low back. Because really the crux of fixing any of these problems is about fixing the hips. We fix the hips, we fix the low back. We fix the hips, we fix the hips. We fix the hips, we fix the knee at the same time. Squeezing that back glute as hard as I can for 10 seconds. With this one, we just do 5 sets, same thing. Very simple of squeezing that back glute for 5 seconds, and then we'll relax. Go back into it for 5 seconds. And at the end of it, after that 5 set of reps, right, then we'll go to the other side and we'll do it as well. Let's get into number 5. Number 5 is the couch stretch. This is one that you've seen before, but we do it a little bit different. It's been much more efficient. So I'm gonna move this back just a little bit. But just like this is a couch, it can be a chair, whatever you need it to be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my leg back. So I am gonna stabilize right here to make it more comfortable. Typically I have something in front of me. I can use the wall as well to make sure I'm stable. Then I'm gonna get this leg back right here. Now I feel a big stretch right here in my hip flexors. What I'm gonna do is move this foot forward and I keep my chest moving forward. I get my knee to my toe, but not in front of it. And the main thing is that I don't extend in my back. There's no need to do that. I'm shifting forward right here. I feel a big stretch and I squeeze that back glute, 5 seconds. I'm gonna relax for 5 seconds, come back into it for 5 seconds. I'm gonna do that 5 times. I'm lengthening all those hip flexors that I just loosened up. I fired up the opposite side, but we use it in these stretches too. One thing that you can do, this is a cheat code, is that when I come back up out of it, that I'm gonna use that hip flexor to pull me back. I'm gonna push my knee into the chair right here to pull me back. And that's gonna allow me to get a little bit deeper each time. Holding it for 5 seconds, little bit deeper. Holding it for 5 seconds. And then I'm just gonna switch sides. I got the wall to lean into. I'm gonna put this right foot down, and then the right knee down. I get my balance. And then now I feel that stretch right here. This is what is really important about this PNF stretching, about using that muscle, is I feel tight right here. Now I'm gonna use that muscle to pull me back. And then now I'm gonna drop down into it a little bit more, but you can see that my chest and my neck, everything stays in line. I never go into extension. So I can put my hands on this knee and I get a little bit further. Now I use that hip flexor to pull me back. And then I'm dropping down to it a little bit more, right? Now I feel like I'm about to get that knee in front of the toe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust, come right here, drop down, get that knee back a little bit more. Drop it down. Now you can see I'm not going near to the toe. I feel a big stretch right here, and I'm allowing that to happen. I don't want to overdo it. I'm just feeling a good, gentle stretch. Then I'm going to squeeze and pull my body back, and I'm dropping down into it a little bit more. You can see I got a little bit more each time when you use those muscles, and I'm going to squeeze that back glute. When I'm in the stretch, you'll feel it even more. We do that for 5 sets. 5 sets of 5 seconds. Take a 5-second rest. You should be out of this within 5 minutes total. There's a lot of 5s here. So 5-second hold, 5-second rest. We do sets of 5, less than 5 minutes, about getting our hip flexors to actually loosen up, because we have so many clients that come in and say, I work on my hip flexors all the time, but they never actually loosen up. It takes us 2 weeks to get crazy hip flexor releases, but it's the consistency that they do. And so we wanna make sure that you're getting that as well. So if you have any questions, let us know in the comments, and then we'll make sure that we get you videos breaking down exactly what you're missing or what we need to explain a little bit better. So we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and make sure you leave a comment so that we can help you out.